All right, we are back with the Supercharged S2000, and everything was going pretty well. The tune feels really good, but I do have a glaring overheating issue. The coolant temps are getting up to like 220-ish, pretty warm, and I thought it was like an air pocket at first in my system, but turns out that I have a multitude of issues going on. So the first issue I found out was the Link ECU has the wrong coolant temp sensor configured when they ship you the ECU in the base configuration. So I had to pull some of the information, and it's a table of ohm resistances to temperatures. It's a mapping for the sensor calibration. I had to pull it from an old Data tune, and seems to be reading appropriately. Basically, when the car is off, your intake temp sensor and your coolant temp sensor should be reading the same values, ambient temperature, because the vehicle's off and you haven't run it. So yeah. So now after that calibration, it's reading about 10, 15, almost 20 degrees cooler in some areas. So I'm actually going to take it for a test drive right now and see what the true temperature is getting up to, and if I'm actually overheating or not. Second step, if it's still overheating, I'm going to ditch this thick 4-inch core air-to-water intercooler because I think it's just blocking way too much airflow. And I'm gonna try out this one that came with the Science of Speed kit. Basically, it's just a heater core, and it gets mounted to closer to the radiator and AC condenser stack. I think what else is going on, and because I'm overheating mainly on the highway, is air is flowing through this and kind of stagnating in between here and the rest of the radiator and stuff. So comes in, kind of swirls around in the middle, and then probably goes off to the sides and never actually reaches the radiator. So definitely have an airflow problem. But if I am overheating still, that's my next move, is to pull the bumper and take out this. And then we'll do a test run with the smaller one. I'm gonna probably get some crazy high intake temps compared to this fat intercooler. But I think to prove my point, that is the actual issue, I'm gonna end up probably downsizing my aftercooler to probably more like a 1.5, 2-inch core, and actually move it back further to the radiator, because essentially the radiator sits almost here in the car, so you could see how much space there is in between where that air can stagnate. Also probably gonna build some ducting. The ducting is going to go essentially on the sides to block off the airflow, and just have this front duct go straight into the cooling stack, so we don't have any pressure drop or air loss. So I think the combination of those things, just taking this step by step, and I'm going to bring you guys along for the ride and see if we can figure out this cooling issue. Just did a test drive with the coolant temp sensor calibration, and I'm still getting up to about like 210 on the highway, which is a lot higher than I would feel comfortable with, because I'm just cruising. So imagine if I was actually getting on it. So yeah, we're gonna pull the front bumper and get rid of that big intercooler and see if that helps. Now that the bumper's off, you can kind of see what I'm dealing with here. Airflow wise, there really should be some ducting on the sides here to kind of direct the airflow in between. So it's kind of my bad. And this intercooler is just way too thick for the application. This is for like probably a 1200 horsepower car, and it's kind of overkill for what I'm doing. So yeah, probably gonna go with a smaller one, and we're gonna try this one out in the meantime. And the other thing I'm gonna do while I'm in here is hose off this disgusting AC condenser. And unfortunately, a lot of the fins are bent, but I'm gonna try to maybe bend some of those back. I don't know, we'll see. May end up getting a new AC condenser, but yeah, I think I should be able to bend those fins, but all those bugs and crap in there probably is not helping the cooling system. Got the small heat exchanger on here. I know the intake temps are gonna get crazy high, but we'll see how the coolant temps do at this point with this setup. I just wanna do some testing. Just gonna throw the stock front bumper on for now, because I'm probably gonna have to take it off again. If this does work, I'm gonna probably order, I found like a 1.5 inch cooler that would probably sit right up against the AC condenser. So just like this, but it'll be thicker and go all the way across. This is just a cheap like Amazon heater core. So if this does work, I'll just double the width of this and just keep it nice and thin, and then get some nice airflow going to that radiator. All right, so I went on the highway after those changes, and I never hit above like 190 coolant temp, and my intake temps were in the 120s, but that's to be expected for that little after cooler that I switched to. But I'm pretty happy with that. Much better. I probably dropped like 15-20 degrees off the coolant temp. And even my AC works a lot better now because there's not that huge intercooler blocking. So I think we are good to go. Just gotta keep an eye on my intake temps there, especially when I'm gonna do some canyon driving. But yeah, I'll just keep an eye on things, and then I'll probably order that new after cooler that's thinner, and I can get it up to the radiator closer, and there's not an air gap, and then maybe even build some ducting too. But yeah, this experiment definitely worked. You can see on the right hand side, I'm sitting at like 180. I think the thermostat on these opens at like 190, so the thermostat is closed right now. So before, even if I tried to turn the AC on, the thing would overheat. So we are good to go now. So for boosted cars, just keep in mind that if you have a giant intercooler, it could be blocking your radiator, and you need some ducting in there, or else you're gonna have an issue. So yeah.